Hello beautiful, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video where we are going to do a get ready with me. I'm going to be chatting with you while I get ready, and I want to talk about some of my biggest regrets during my time on YouTube. I saw this video recently over at my friend Amy from Amy Loves Makeup, and I thought it was such an intriguing and interesting video. I will of course link her down below. You definitely should check out her video, and I feel like I have some thoughts. I just felt like it was a very interesting topic to be like having a discussion around, because there's one thing to like grow and learn, but there's also something in like admitting that you were wrong and that you have regrets. So we're gonna be chatting about it. And I am actually going to be doing a full face of stuff that I love. Let me take my ring off. I hate putting on creams or anything when I have jewelry on. Ooh. And when I see other people do that, I'm like, how are you like not dying doing this? But I'm gonna do a full face of makeup like this Milk makeup primer that is available at Sephora, because Sephora is having their sale going on right now that I didn't mention in my Sephora VIB recommendation sale, at least not this time around. I could have mentioned them before. So if you want to get some more recommendations of stuff that is available at Sephora that I really do enjoy, check the description box. I'm just going to be doing a full face, but I will not be talking about the makeup products as we're applying them. I will just be like applying them and putting them in the description box. It's just a way for me to be using some oldies but goodies. At least most of these are like a little bit older products to me in my collection, and also for me to be able to recommend some more things, because I personally don't like those Sephora recommendation videos that have 700 products. I need you to like edit yourself a little bit, so that's why I try to keep mine to less products, but that doesn't mean that I don't have more things from Sephora that I really like. So we are gonna be just diving into that. Ooh, wash my hands. And it's been a couple of weeks since I watched Amy's video, and I know I started doing some notes when I watched her video, but I don't remember now exactly what she had. But I do remember that one of the things that she had as like a regret is something that I feel very proud of, that I have been very good at. So I thought I'd also include two things that are not regrets, but two things that I feel like I got right from the beginning, and not at all shading Amy in any way, shape, or form. She is literally the sweetest, smartest, funniest person on earth. But it's just like, sometimes you need to pat yourself on the back as well. But I will say I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 regrets and 2 things I'm proud of. So we'll see in which direction this is heading. One of the things that has been a regret for me, and I think I have talked about this before, is that I have been overly naive when it comes to other creators. And I think that this just comes to how I am as a person. I've always said, I do have a tattoo. I think it's on this side. Yeah, it says "When in doubt, love." That's what my tattoo says. And it comes down to me always thinking the best of people, which is just the way I am. I've always said that. I'd rather be naive than cynical. And sometimes when people say that like, oh, you're too naive, I'm like, yes, you are right. But again, I would hate to be the person that just automatically assumes the worst of people or the worst of people's intentions. But it definitely has bit me in the butt a couple of times here on YouTube. There's been a couple of creators that have been really nice to me, but then behind the scenes have been talking shit about me, trying to start up drama about me, writing about me to other brands, and I just never thought, and I don't want to be like, oh my god, I'm such a good person. It's just like, I would never do that. So sometimes I feel that it's hard for me to grasp why somebody else would do that about me. Like, what's the game? Like, what's the plan here? What are we doing? What game are we playing? And there's definitely been a couple of situations where I've been like, oh, I really had that person like wrong. I really did not get what that person was about. And I wish that maybe I would have been a little bit more cautious with who I let into what, and with whom I share what, and what kind of, I don't know, tips I give to people, and what money and opportunities I give to people, because I definitely have not been the best judge of character when it comes to people online in all situations, and that's on me, and that's just something that I've been better at now. I also will say another thing which is very interesting, but another thing that I thought about this, this stems way back in the Wayback Machine. PewDiePie, I don't watch PewDiePie, but I heard about the drama that he was in when he was recommending a creator in one of his videos. He was basically doing the kind of video that I used to do, which was shouting out smaller creators and just being like, hey, you should watch these people. And I used to do those kind of videos. They never got a lot of views, but it was like something I like to do, and I still like to shout out people. But I remember PewDiePie, back to the story, did a similar thing to this, of course, not in any way, shape, or form connected to me, but he was like shouting out creators, and he got a lot of flack for shouting out a creator that it turns out that they were posting a lot of, I don't remember, but problematic things on their channel, and this had gone, PewDiePie had missed this when he was shouting him out. And I think that this is the point, this is the exact moment in time where I realized, wow, this is why bigger creators are so reluctant to shout out smaller channels, because what if they end up doing that? What if they end up shouting someone out and it turns out that that person was not a good person whatsoever? They end up getting into hot water for something that they did with good intentions, because and nobody can do that. Nobody can watch everybody's videos, research on their political views or their husbands, or check up like what they're doing on their free time. Nobody has time for that. But still, when things get brought up to the surface, the one that's doing the shout out, usually, to be nice, it's getting the drama for it, because they're like, you should have known. But like, I'm just speaking for myself. I'm not even a big creator. I don't have time to do that kind of research. So sometimes I'll just not shout people out, because I'm like, I don't know this person. What if I end up shouting out someone that's super problematic? What if, because again, stuff has happened in the past for me and for other creators where it just has not turned out to be this positive experience that we were probably hoping it was going to be. And that's probably the reason why bigger creators are not shouting out smaller creators, because they're like, what if this person is super problematic? And I just do not have the time or resources to be digging into that. So that is something that I definitely have learned with time, because I have definitely been the person that's been like, why don't bigger creators shout out smaller creators? Don't they know how much it means for a smaller creator? Oh, they know. They know. They just don't have time to do the research. And you know what? I respect that. Because even though I'm not a bigger creator, I'm still in that camp. I'm like, I don't have time. I don't want to be that person, but I don't have time. So I shout out the people that I feel like I know, that I talk to, that I feel like I somewhat can vouch for. And it's not because I'm trying to be mean. I'm just trying to not accidentally end up being problematic. Another thing, and I think that this is one of the things that I still fall into. I still like do this. And that is the accidental bad research. Like, I try the best I can, but I definitely have become better with this than I was in the future. Who am I? Where am I going? Than I was in the past. Trying to just do a little bit of research on not only release times and prices and stuff, even though prices have never been a true thing on my channel to talk about, because I've never been able, when I was living in Sweden, I was never able to pay that price that Americans were paying. So for me, I tried to look at it from a different perspective. But there has definitely been a lot of cases where I have been glossing over things, or not paying attention, or not looking into things. And it's just bit me in the butt, because I've ended up saying stuff online that's just like either not true, or just come off very, just, I don't know, like I don't care. And it's not the kind of person I am. And I also will say that on a lot of subjects that are a little bit more rough, and I'm saying rough as like in hard subjects, I have realized that I am not that person. I don't know. I don't have a degree in that. I don't have a degree in political relations. I should not be speaking on subjects that I am not fully educated on. It does not mean that I do not have opinions on it, but I don't have enough research on it, and I don't have a degree in it, and I'm not an expertise in this. And I also think that like you should not be asking influencers to give input on like really serious current events, because it's like that's not that's not my job. That's not what I do. And if I don't have a well-researched, well-nuanced opinion about sometimes some of the most difficult situations in mankind, I should not be the person to speak on that. There are people, like, ask your politicians, ask people in the news, ask them. That's their job. So I think that sometimes that has served me better now that I'm like, listen, I have opinions about this, but I am not an expertise enough in this field, so I'm just not going to be talking about it. I do have fields where I am actually pretty well read up. I have a degree in environmental science. I have worked with dietary supplements for 8 years. I know some stuff very well, but I try to be smart and not speak on stuff that I'm like, this actually isn't my field. And I think that there's a lot of other influencers that probably should take a page out of that book and just be like, ask your politicians, look at the news. These are the people getting paid to be well read up on these situations, or experts in the field, because there's a lot of experts in different fields. But overall, just trying to do a little bit more research, having like faulty research overall when it comes to makeup products too. Because like how it is now, if there's a product that I am in any way, shape or form are unsure about, I try to look at the products, like what is the brand saying about this product? How do they describe the product? And how do they, oh my God, sorry about that. And how do they recommend you use the product? Like, what is the brand saying? Is it with a brush? Is it with a sponge? Is it medium coverage? Is it long wearing? Is it dewy? Like, how are you supposed to use it? What are you supposed to match it with? I try to look at that to make more nuanced, like, reflections around products, because it's not only about whether or not the products are, like, living up to my expectations. It's also like, are they living up to what the brand are describing them as? And I feel like I have not always been the best with that, but I am surely trying my best. Another thing, and I feel like a lot of creators, and I know some of my friends agree with this, and I am pretty sure that Amy talked about this as well, and that is oversharing. It is so easy because you feel like, first of all, I'm alone here. It is only me in this room, not even a pet in sight. And it's so easy sometimes to just see this as like almost a, I don't know, maybe like a diary where you talk about things, and it's so easy to overshare sometimes. And I will say it's something that I have noticed. I'm gonna change to another powder. Ooh, I'm gonna use a little bit of the Huda one as well. If there's one thing that I've noticed while being online, it is that the creators that get the least amount of criticism or online hate or whatever you want to call it, because sometimes it is criticism and sometimes it just truly is online hate, but the people that get the most versus the least are the people that share the most about themselves versus the ones that share the least about themselves. If you only talk about makeup online and never give anything about your private life, people might be less invested in you as a creator, but you'll also get way less criticism and hate online, either on your channel or on like online forums, because you give less things to criticize. You give them less. And the more you give the haters, because some people truly are just haters looking for stuff to critique you on, and that's also something you have to learn the hard way here. The more ammunition you give them, the more they have to work with, basically. And some people will twist your words in any way, shape, or form, or say that you have said stuff that you haven't said. But since you've said so much other things, it's more believable that like, oh, maybe she did say this too. So I definitely have been trying to scale back a little bit on what I'm sharing about. And if there's one tip I could give to anyone that's getting into this, I'm gonna do setting spray first. But if there's one thing I can share with anyone that's trying to get into this, is that never talk about anything online that you are not willing to get fully criticized on or fully getting hate on. Even if you think that there's no way that people could, oh, they will. They will about absolutely everything. So if you're not willing to get hate on the things you're sharing, keep it to yourself. Okay, I did some brows, I did some lip liner. I've been wanting to wear this lip combo again, so I thought that today is a good day for that. Like a soft, warm nude together with the eye look I have planned. Okay, so this is a big one, and this is something that I have been, look at this orange, that I have been talking about a lot before on my platform, and that is that I used to be so judgmental towards bigger YouTubers over stuff that oh, this one is shedding, oops, that I just did not know anything about. Like, about the choices they made, I was like, do they even buy makeup? Like, there's been so many things that I had to, like, I've been not proven wrong necessarily, but with time, I've been like, oh, oh, that's why. And I think that this is also something that I see a lot in comments, is that you do judgment on others based on the knowledge that you have at the point, and based on like what you think that you would do in that situation, again, based on the knowledge that you have right now. And there are so many things that I have changed my mind about. One of them being like PR versus how much you buy. I don't buy that much makeup myself anymore. I spend a lot of the money that I'm making right now on YouTube on helping with, I have a personal like virtual assistant, I have an editor helping me with some of my videos, I have people helping me with my taxes, stuff that I just don't have time for all of it. And instead of just to make not only the work I do here as good as possible, but also for me to be able to put my time into the things that I'm actually good at, which is like the makeup part, the creating part. And also, like, I don't want to get in trouble with the IRS. That would be like my actual like worst nightmare. So I spend a lot of money on having people helping with stuff like that instead of spending, because I still spend more money on my job now than I did back then. But back then, a lot of the money that I spent, like this lump sum of money, was on actual products. And with time, I've been very lucky to get on PR lists for brands that I used to buy products from because I love them and I still love them. Like some of my absolute favorite brands send me PR, like Oden's Eye and Earthly Cosmetics and Nomad Cosmetics and like Kaleidos, and there's so many brands that I love that send me PR, and I'm so grateful. But then there are brands like, I'm gonna be using these two palettes today. I wanted to combine these two. I really love this one, and I want to see how this one is as a companion palette. So I thought this could be a good day to like wear them together. So when Natasha Nona releases something, I'll just buy it myself because it is a brand that I really love and I want to own the products. But that doesn't mean that I wouldn't spend the money. If I was kicked off the Oden's Eye PR list today, I would still be purchasing their new releases with my own money. Like with Colourpop, I got a PR package from Colourpop yesterday, so I guess I wasn't kicked off the PR. But there was like 3 weeks or something there where I didn't get anything from Colourpop, and I was like, oh, maybe I've been kicked off the PR list. So if something was released, I'd buy it myself with my own money if there's like something I want. But there are less brands like that now because I've been very lucky, or like, I shouldn't call it luck. I've worked really hard for brands to notice me and for them to want me to use their products. And that is what PR is. PR is brands recognizing, this person, we want this person to be using our products, and to make sure that they are using our products, or at least get a bigger chance that they're going to use our products, we're going to send it to this creator so that at least the hurdle of them buying it is over. Then they have it at home and it's a bigger chance for them using our products. I mean, that is what PR is. PR is the brand saying, ooh, we want you. We want you to be using our products. That is what PR is. So I still get, I would say, the amount of makeup that comes into my life. I say makeup now because I do get a lot of like skincare and stuff that I wouldn't necessarily like maybe buy with my own money in PR as well. But I would say the amount of makeup that comes into my life now, it's fairly similar to the amount of makeup that I got into my life back when I was buying most of it with my own money. So why would I buy even more? And that's one of the things that I used to judge creators on. I'm like, most of it is PR, but it's like, are they just supposed to like go out of their way to buy stuff that they're not necessarily as interested in? Or maybe that they won't have time to review for you anyways, just for the sake of spending money? Isn't it better than that like you spend the money elsewhere to make the equipment better. Like I bought a new microphone, I bought a new camera, this lighting is expensive. Just this light you see in front of you, the one that's lighting me up, is over $2,000. That was a very expensive light. And those are the things that I end up spending on instead of like buying makeup that I won't have time to review anyway. So this is definitely one of the things that I thought I knew. And I was like, oh, they're just being cheap. They don't want to try new makeup. No, they want to try new makeup, but like they're probably already decided which some of their favorite brands are. And with time, they've just realized this is one of my favorite brands. I'm going to keep using this one. So they're just like not going out of their way to... I want to try the black first to try, because this is a cream to powder black, the one in the middle. Maybe not like a stark black, but black enough. Because that's how I feel now. I don't want to go out of my way to spend money on stuff that I won't have time to review anyways. That's just the bottom line. And with these Natasha Denona palettes, for example, I bought them myself and I made reviews on them, but I can't be doing that with everything that's being released at Sephora because I won't have time. And another thing, and I made a specific point of this because I wanted to talk about this a little bit. And this is something that I know that both me, I don't know if I've talked about this openly on my channel, but this is something that I now recently have had a bit of an epiphany about, because I was like, oh, okay, I get it. And I've talked to my friends behind the scenes about this because I know that you've heard creators talk about that AdSense has been a little weird this year. Because usually there's like, oh, for 1,000 views, you will make this many dollars. And it basically the amount of AdSense you make throughout the year has been a steady like flow. Every year it's the same. It's lower in January and it's higher towards the end of the year. But this year, AdSense has been cut in sometimes half. Like you're doing the same work and you're getting the same views, but YouTube is paying you 20 to 50% less throughout this entire 2023. And I don't really have a good answer to why that is, but that is one of the reasons why probably me and other creators are starting to realize I need to diversify my income a little bit. I can't just be relying on AdSense because YouTube could at obviously any reason decide that to lower AdSense. And for me, I could always go back to my old job, but I will say my expertise is in EU legislation, so I can't really work with it while we're here in the US. But I've seen a lot of creators go into doing other things, and it's also made me reevaluate something that I didn't necessarily think that I was going to be reevaluating. And that is sponsorships. I'm going to do something warm with this one, and I think I'm going to start with this. It's also a cream to powder Fushi. We'll see how this turns out. Because I always used to see sponsorships, for me, since AdSense was my biggest income, I always saw sponsorships as like an extra income. I don't need sponsorships. I don't necessarily want sponsorships. It was just like an extra income for me, something that I didn't rely on. And I didn't really work to get sponsorships. And I just thought that like, I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was like, why would you need a sponsorship on top of AdSense? But this year with AdSense has truly made me realize that it's not about getting an extra income on top of AdSense. It is about securing that you actually can pay rent, because AdSense can change at any time. And like I said, there's been some months where the same amount of views have paid me 50% of what I paid last. Imagine your boss coming into you and saying, I've decided to cut your paycheck in half this month, but I'm still expecting you to show up every day. I mean, of course, as a contractor, it's not exactly the same thing. But imagine if that happened to you, you would probably also be like, oh, I need to get a second job. I need to get a second job, or I need to look into something else. And I feel like there's been a lot of creators that's been like, maybe I should do another platform. Maybe I should go and see if I could get a normal quote unquote job, because I still feel like this is an actual job. Or maybe I need to diversify my incomes. Maybe I need to do more sponsorships. And I now realize what creators meant when they said that a sponsorship you can more count on. Because a sponsorship, it will pay you the same amount of money regardless like of where AdSense is for your views, because usually you get paid on your sponsorship based on your views. So it doesn't fluctuate the way that an AdSense will if your views are pretty stable like mine are. So for me, sponsorships this year has been just a way for me to get back some of that income that has been lost through AdSense being down. And I have even decided that for next year, I'm gonna spend my time doing other ventures a little bit instead of doing YouTube full time. So I will be uploading a little less next year. Not because I don't like YouTube or because I don't like what I'm doing here, but because it just would pay me better to spend my time doing other things, and also just take some time off that I'm definitely have not been very good at. And I feel like all creators this year has been in this like, maybe it will become better once we get into fall. It's not better. It's not better, and I think a lot of people are seeing the writings on the wall right now, and it's gonna be interesting to see what is gonna happen next year, because I feel like there's probably gonna be some creators that are gonna do other things instead, or do other platforms, or maybe do less like I will. I feel like it would make sense, and just try to maybe get a second job or something like that. You know what I would like to start to do? I mean, this is super random. I loved working in the restaurant business. I know, and not a lot of people love working in the restaurant business, but I truly loved working in the restaurant business. And part of me would love to try and just be a barista at Starbucks. Not because I need the Starbucks money, but because I feel like it would be such an interesting place to work at, to just truly see that culture. But I realized that like you need a lot of training and stuff to do that. But it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, that would be so cool to try that out, because I love working in the restaurant business. And the main reason why I stopped working in the restaurant business was because what kind of shades do I want to use? I think I'm gonna do the brown. I stopped working there because it was only evening times, and I'm not an evening person, and I wanted to work during daytimes. And also the paycheck was so low that I couldn't do waitressing full time and pay my rent. Like I wasn't able, because I didn't get enough hours. So I was working every weekend, every night, but still I wasn't getting enough hours so that I could actually, you know, pay my rent, buy groceries, and like have a life. I wasn't getting full-time hours, and that's why I'm like, I should go back to university and like actually get that degree in something fun. So that was the main reason, but I loved being a waitress. I loved working in the restaurant business, and I feel like it would be so cool as like a side hustle to be mixing drinks at Starbucks, because it's like a daytime bartender. Am I glorifying this? Probably. All of this to say that I have definitely changed my mind on sponsorships, and I now understand what creators meant when they were like, oh, you can count on a sponsorship in a way that you cannot count on AdSense. Because also, YouTube can at any point demonetize one of your videos and say like, oh, you broke the guidelines. And they're not always telling you why they thought you broke the guidelines either. So you can just end up being demonetized without really knowing why. And then it would have been nice if you had a sponsor on that video, so you're at least getting a little bit paid for the work that you did. Because I can only speak for myself. I love YouTube. I love what I do. And if I got another full-time job, I would still do YouTube. But not 5 days a week. No. No, I would upload maybe 1 video a week. So for me to be as on top of things as I am right now with new releases and reviews and like uploading several times a week, this needs to be like my job. I'm turning 40 soon and I just do not have the mental capacity or the energy to be doing 2 full-time jobs where I'm at right now in my life. So I would not abandon YouTube, but I also would not be doing it as much as I'm doing now. And I feel like there's probably a lot of people right now that are in the exact same boat as me, and they're like probably thinking the way that I'm doing. So what else am I gonna do? And I will say, will spend some time working on Cinch, because that makes sense. Ooh. Which is my own brand, these brushes. I have been asked if we are doing a new release this year, and I'm working on it. Stuff is in production. So I want to have a release this year, but there's also one thing that I've learned, and I learned that while I was working with the collabs that I've been doing with brands. Producing makeup takes way longer than people think. It is not a 1 week or even 2 week thing. My products are in production for weeks. Because sometimes there are other clients in front of you as well. You're just not like first of line. Just because you're like, oh, I want to have products. They're just not going to be like, oh, we'll start with yours tomorrow. No, you have to wait in line. And then actually producing them takes time. So I'm hoping to have a release this year. But it all depends on shipping and production and all of that. But let's cross our fingers that it's happening. And also the restock. It is also happening as soon as all of these things get sorted out. Now let's talk about 2 things that I myself have done right, and I have seen other creators get, at least this first thing, getting a little bit in trouble for not doing this. And this is going to be my biggest recommendation to you if you're a creator or in any kind of situation like this. I'm going to use the white one, is get a contract in place. And I know that Amy talked about this because it's so easy sometimes. Like you work with someone and you feel like you're friends. You have a friendly way of talking to each other and you are going to be working together. Get a contract. Get a contract in place. I remember both with Oden's Eye and with Kaleidos, both of them, and even I was like, before we go any further with this, I would like us to have a contract in place. And they were like, yes, that is so smart. Let's do that so we don't end up either oversharing or setting things in stone, and like before we're able to like agree on the things that we need to agree on. Distribution, the amount of things, time schedule, pricing, how much you're getting paid, all of these things that you just need to agree on. Oh, did I use the gray before? I think I used Flurry accidentally, but now I put the white over. Okay. That you need to agree on before. And also a contract is, even though of course you have to make like a civil suit out of it if they're breaking contract, because I can tell you that like you can't just go to the police with the contract, but at least you have something written where it's like, hey, we actually agreed on these things. You can't just come and change it afterwards. And I've never had any problems with any brand that I've written a contract with, but I will say it's so important to have paperwork at hand. And I always, even when I do sponsorship, I did a sponsorship lately with a brand. They were super sweet and super nice. And I was like, I want to get this in written. And they're like, oh, we don't need a contract. I'm like, you know, I really feel like we should have a contract, because it's so easy for things to get a little bit diluted or anything like that. I'm going to use this eye pencil. That's so good. So I feel very proud of myself that I have always had contracts at hand, but I also think that it's so easy to just be like, oh, but we're friendly, we've been working together, I'm your affiliate, or we've been talking for so long. But like, listen, money always muddies up a relationship. You never know, you never truly really know who someone is before money gets involved, and someone could change it's so hard. And also, like, with a contract, you can put in place, like, with like collabs, how many units are we selling? How are you telling me when we're low on stock? How are you telling me how many we've sold? Like, what is the communication we're having? At what point can we break a contract? And I will say, putting stuff in contracts, that's like, at what point can we break a contract, and what happens if someone breaks a contract? That's also important to put in there. So it's one of those things that probably my age helped a bit with that, because I've had so many other contracts with stuff before that it probably helped me to realize that a contract is always good to have. But I definitely recommend this if you're getting into this, or with anything. Even with friends, when money is being involved, having a contract, it helps. I also brought out a perfume. I was talking about this with my friend Allie Dawson. This is so amazing. This is the Salt by Alice Brooklyn, and she was talking about how much she loves this, and I brought it out, and now I'm like obsessed again. It's just such a good perfume. It's so fresh, and so, like, you smell like an expensive spa resort at the sea. What's not to love? While I get my falsies ready, I'm gonna take off these falsies. Unfortunately are not available at Sephora, but these are the Juvia's Place ones. They're just so pretty. I wanted to talk a little bit about the last thing that I feel very happy that I was very firm on this going into this thing and looking up, because I think that it's as a creator online, regardless of what area you're in, it's very important that you read up on the rules for your area. Like, what is the rules for talking about sponsorships? What is the rules about, like, declaring affiliate links or affiliate codes, or telling if something is PR or not? And I feel like I, maybe also due to what I used to work with, was very good at, like, searching for answers and just trying to get it right from the beginning. And I'm not saying, I don't think that most people that don't, like, declare their affiliate links or their affiliations or the PR, I don't think that they're doing it with malicious intent, but it's so easy because the rules are a little muddy, especially in Sweden. It was so hard. It is so hard to make sure that you're doing it correctly, because sometimes the wording can be really fuzzy and you're just like, so what do you mean? I feel like I'm that mean. What do you mean? What do you want? But I will say I'm very happy that I kind of straight out of the gate understood the difference between gifted, PR, sponsored, like how you're supposed to pay taxes on things that are sponsored. Because I feel like there's a lot of creators that accept something in exchange for a review, not understanding that when you are doing that, you need to announce to your audience that it is sponsored, and you need to announce to the IRS that you got paid in an eyeshadow palette, because you have to pay taxes on that eyeshadow palette, which means that you are paying out of pocket to do commercials for another brand. Never, ever, ever receive something in exchange for a review. It is the worst financial decision you can make for your social media. And I think that that is one of the things that I feel very confident in making the right decisions on that. And I've talked to a lot of my creator friends over the years here on YouTube and letting them know, basically, like, encouraging them, do not under any circumstances receive anything in exchange for review. It's you are being taken advantage of. And I see big brands do that a lot, and that is one of the things that I'm very proud of myself, that I did the research going in, because I feel like I have probably been taken advantage of less than other people. And I think it's important to stand your ground. Like, your work has value. And even if you are not being paid as a creator, and even in your line of work, even if you're not a creator, you're working in an office, you're working at McDonald's, your time, your work, your effort is worth something. Don't let people take advantage of you. Saying no could be the best thing you ever do for your career. because it shows that you have integrity. It shows that you value yourself, your time, your energy, and that is worth something. And it's worth more than an eyeshadow palette. It's worth more than a pat on the back. It's worth more than a diploma of like employee of the month that you didn't get paid for. Because sometimes your free time that you get to spend at home with your family is more important than a free eyeshadow palette. So yeah, I feel proud of myself for knowing that going in. But yeah, there are definitely things on YouTube that I've said or done, brands that I've reviewed, people that I've trusted that I regret. I think everyone has regrets. And sometimes it's a good thing to talk about them, because then maybe you cannot do the same mistake again. Because everybody makes mistakes, everybody falls down, and it's not about how you look when you fall, it's about how you look when you get up. What do you do to rectify the situation? What do you do to make sure that you're not doing that again? Or at least not that exact thing again? Because again, everybody makes mistakes, and everybody, including you watching this, have made mistakes, and you are bound to make another mistake in your life. It's just the name of the game. I'm gonna put on lash and we'll be done. I am super excited about this look. I think it looks absolutely stunning, and I feel like, okay, so this is how I want to have a quick thought about the Midi Xenon. I feel like I use this palette exactly the way that I would use the Mini Xenon with the black, because this one is a cream to powder though, but like the black and the white. Did I need the Midi Xenon? I don't know. Love the Yucca palette though. It's my favorite Natasha Denona palette ever. And like I said, if you want any recommendations for the Sephora sale, I do have a video. It's linked down below, and also check the description box, because all the things that I used today, I will link them down below, and these are things that I truly really like. The Xenon palette, I'm just in the middle of like reviewing, but the Yucca palette, it is so incredibly good. I cannot recommend it enough. But when it comes to YouTube, like I've been on YouTube for over 8 years uploading videos. Of course you're gonna learn and grow with the platform, and you yourself, like I changed. Like 8 years, like I was 32 when I started on this platform. Well, 31 technically? Because yeah, I must have been 31 technically, because I'm 39 right now. I'm turning 40 soon. So imagine you being 31 versus 39, or 21 versus 29. There are so many things that happen, and of course you are going to change. And like I said, everybody makes mistakes, and everybody, sometimes it is learning by doing, or more like trial and error maybe. And we all need that. But I feel like online, of course, you're shown less grace than you would if you were not having this many thousand eyes on you while you're doing it. But I do feel like me recognizing the things that I have not been the best at and trying to rectify them, I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. And yeah, please let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think about the look. And I will see you again really soon in a new video. Bye!